teaching veteran Trey Reely here. And welcome to my band channel, Band Stuff. If you would, real quickly, if you could, press like or subscribe. End of commercial. Today's video is the third in a series titled Top 10 Mistakes That Band Directors Make. If you've missed the first two, don't worry about it. You can catch them later. I think things I say today will be valuable even if you've missed the first three things that I talked about. The first mistake that band directors make is they don't call or conference parents enough. Second was they don't sing enough with their students in rehearsal. And the third one is they procrastinate. Now today I'm going to be talking about three very quickly, but hopefully effectively. Fourth mistake, they don't delegate enough. Number 5, they don't use enough outside educational resources. And then number 6, failing to communicate effectively during rehearsal. Mistake number 4, and remember these are in no particular order. Mistake number 4, directors often don't delegate enough. If there's one line I've heard many times over my career, and I've even said it at different points, is I can't get the parents around here to do anything. And I would put up, we'd have meetings, a lot of them wouldn't come. I'd have a lot come and I'd put clipboards out, I'd pass clipboards around. Some people would sign up, but it's amazing how many people came to the meeting and then wouldn't sign up. Send out email, still no signups. But the one thing I tried, which worked better than anything else, and you might groan when you hear it, but if you really don't complain too much if you're not willing to do that, is I got on the phone and I called people. I had one year where my Bandmaster president was a very, very busy person and had a hard time getting workers for the concession stand. And so I decided to help out, and I got on the phone. I plotted out all the football games and just started calling. And I had very few that declined to work once they were just approached in person on the telephone. So until you've called all your band parents to specifically ask them to help with something, don't complain too much, because I really think if you do that, you'll find a lot of people that you can delegate things to. Add that personal touch to it. Also, in terms of delegation, your life can be a lot easier if you are in a program enough that you have an assistant director. Maybe you're real lucky and you've got 2 or 3. Delegate important things to them. I think it's very helpful if you look at your assistants as somebody who could be a band director ahead of a program someday. Maybe they don't want to, but maybe they do. Give them meaningful tasks. Let them conduct one of the advanced groups. Give them real responsibility. So when it comes to apply for another job and they're filling out a resume, they can put more on there than they just moved around music stands, stacked chairs, and worked with sideline equipment. Delegate meaningful things to them. It's good for you, good for them. Mistake number 5, fail to use educational resources outside their band program. I know some of you might have a band that's out in the middle of nowhere. And some of these suggestions might seem very difficult for you. And you're going to have to maybe be a little more creative in using outside resources. But if you've got a university anywhere near you, if you have retired band directors, former band members that still play a lot in a community band or something, bring in as many outside resources into your band program as you can to get ideas and get suggestions on how to make your band better. I don't know why more people don't do that. I've had university directors over the years say, thank you for bringing me in. It might have been a private flute instructor, a university clarinet instructor. They would say, thank you for asking me to come, because I can't believe more people don't ask me to come work with their kids. And I've never been able to understand that. And the only thing I can really understand is maybe there's a certain nervousness about bringing somebody in, because I get that. Even after I taught 30 years, whenever I brought somebody in from a university to work with my band, I still had this nervousness. And when that nervousness showed, I would make excuses. You know, first when they got there, my first thing is to say, well, you know, my first chair trumpet player, she broke up with her boyfriend yesterday and hasn't been the same since. And I'm not sure how she's going to play today. My first clarinet player, you know, his cat died yesterday. They were very, very close. And just, he's been very emotional, so I'm not sure what's going to happen today in rehearsal. I'm not even sure that he's going to be here. You know, so I start making all these excuses because, you know, I'm so scared of what they're going to think about my band. But you have to get over what people are going to think about your band and think about your players and think more about where you want your band to be in the future. Use those outside resources that you have, and it can be so inspiring for your kids to hear what somebody else has to say. And as a quick side note, if you do bring a guest conductor in, don't get up in front of the band, or don't tell the guest conductor in person that I've been telling them all of that already. It makes them feel bad. And the guest conductor kind of knows that. They're kind of like the expert that comes in. The kids will actually listen to him when he is saying some of the same things. But it doesn't make them feel too special when it feels like they just got up and said everything that you've said. So, you know, try to avoid that so the guest clinician can feel better. Mistake number 6, fail to communicate effectively during rehearsal. One of my favorite basketball coaches of all time is the former coach at UCLA, John Wooden. He was a tremendous coach. And in his final year of coaching, they actually did a study of how he ran his basketball practices and what percentage he spent on what. And I thought it was kind of interesting. He spent 12% encouraging them to hustle. He spent 7% of his time on praising them, 6% of his time chewing them out, and that left 75% of his time that he spent on giving specific instructions. So with that in mind, reflect a little bit with me on how your rehearsal divides up in a similar way. How much of your rehearsal is spent with specific instructions being given to the students? It might surprise you that maybe not as much as you think. And I think it's important that when you look at your rehearsal, to check and see how many things that you say are actually really, really helpful. I observed a soccer coach one time who was really a football coach, didn't know a lot about soccer. And so instead of being able to give specific instruction on how to get better, his solution was just to chew them out more and yell at them for not hustling, when the issue was really more in terms of their placement and positioning on the field and certain specific techniques that they needed to know to be successful. But how many times do we spend in band rehearsals just getting on to them for not practicing enough? Or we tell them over and over again when they're playing out of tune that they need to listen. And if you're sitting there telling one section who's out of tune every day to listen over and over and over again, it's pretty obvious that that's not the solution, because obviously they don't know how to listen, or they're listening and that doesn't do any good. So at some point, whether it's listening or some other problems you're having with your rehearsal, it's going to take maybe some extra study to figure out what to do, some extra creativity to find some specific solutions to your kids' playing problems, as opposed to just kind of saying things and repeating things that really are not doing very much good. Like, for instance, telling a section, y'all need to fix that. Well, that's really not terrifically helpful. So watch your language in rehearsal and see what part of it really is something that will help that kid accomplish what you want them to accomplish. Hey, it's been great being with you today on this video. I'm going to be making 52 videos total, one per week for a year. I've already got some up. And I hope you'll continue to check back in. If you subscribe, that would be great. Check back in and just see if there's something of interest to you. Some things might not be of interest, but you might find something that, hey, that is interesting. I'll watch that one. And you can kind of pick and choose, and that's fine with me. Thanks for watching this video today.